When you have your experience of dying, you get this interconnectivity. You feel like you're connected to everything. So that sense of oneness is really profound. When you come back into your physical body again, you feel that sense of separation. So there's something about being in body that makes us feel like we're independent of the rest of the world. When I had my experience, I was a true atheist. I didn't believe in any kind of religion. I didn't believe in anything. I thought this was all foo-foo. I was sitting in the emergency room waiting, and I know the nurse said, here, if you need anything, push this button. And I sat on that bed, and I was really struggling to breathe at one point. I thought about pushing the button, but because I grew up in the South Bronx and we're supposed to be these tough men, I said, no, I could manage this. I could get through this. I always do. That was the beginning of my experience of dying. And I had a series of emotions because I was suffocating, so it was kind of slow. And then I got this tremendous sense of fear. And because I thought when I die, there's nowhere for me to go, I didn't believe in anything, that I would just be shut off like a light bulb and just turn into nothingness. And then I started thinking, you know what? I've had such a hard and difficult life. Maybe it's okay to kind of let go. Maybe there's no shame in this. I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. I'm just realizing that there's nothing I could do to stem this chain of events, right? I can't stop it. I kind of said, it's okay. It's okay to die. And the minute I said that, or thought that, this shadow just moved. And it just moved around everybody in that room. And in my mind, I could see its hand reaching out to me, and it just touched my toe. And the minute it touched my toe, I just felt this tremendous sense of relief and relaxation and peace and love and calm. And I wasn't struggling to breathe anymore. I was in bliss. And I felt this breeze, this really warm breeze just blowing. And I visualized, because I got long hair, I'm thinking, wow, my hair must be blowing in this breeze. This is kind of like amazing. And then I felt myself kind of being lifted until I found myself in the corner of the room. And I was observing the effort by the CPR team, the group that was there trying to save my life. And I looked at them and I could see there was a doctor right over me, just pumping. And I could see there was a lot of stress in her face. And I looked at myself and I said, that's me and I'm dead. But if that's me, then who am I? This is the first thoughts that came to me, incredibly enough. And then I just heard this voice right next to me say, think of your body as a car. And that car has like 5 million miles on it, and there's nothing we could do to fix it anymore. And I look at myself and something very strange happened. For the first time in my life, I loved and appreciated who I was and who I've been. And I was so grateful for that body, that vessel, for giving me the opportunity to live the life that I lived. We're always looking for what's wrong with us. We never really appreciate what we have that's good about us. So I had this insane appreciation for who I had been and who I was. And then the voice said to me, okay, now it's time for us to move on. And we started walking. Now, I never saw this presence. So I don't know what it was. It felt feminine. And then I could see this huge hole in the ground, like a big black hole. And we're kind of walking right into it, and we walk right into it, and then I feel like I'm falling. And it was a bit of a painful experience because I feel like something was being ripped off of me. And it felt like I was falling forever. And when I finally hit what I would call ground, it kind of ended for a second, and then she kind of said, "You got to keep going." And there was another one. And I went into that hole, and I fell, and I kept falling, and I felt this thing just ripping things off of me. When I hit the bottom, the first thing I saw was this mass of color. And the color was just moving, and it had so much life in it that I became instantly amazed. And then they just opened up, and I saw this amazing forest. I saw this amazing vista, and I'm looking up and I'm seeing that mountain, and I'm realizing that I'm flying. So I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm flying." And I heard this voice just say to me, "That's normal here." And then I thought about my children, and this was the only aspect of when I was transitioning that was a bit painful to me. And I look down and I see this amazing cove, and I see a beach, and I see a man in the water. He's like knee deep in the water. And he's got 6 children holding onto his right hand in a string, right, in a line, and 1 child on his left hand. And I said, "Wow, that's pretty amazing. Let me go down and see what that's all about." So I moved down, and maybe I'm about 10 feet, 15 feet away, and he turns around. That was my father. It was amazing to see him, but what was more amazing was that me and my father had a very, very hard relationship. We used to bump heads tremendously, and he used to drink, and he was quite abusive. And even though I was the 7th of 8 children, I became like my mother's protector. And so we had a lot of clashes, and I don't ever remember saying to my father in life that I love you, or he to me. And his ways were very strict. So we couldn't hug. That wasn't what men do. It was like he had this image of men being like empty, without a soul, without feelings, wow, what an opportunity to say to my father. And so we had this exchange that was very emotional to me. But I understood that he loved me. And I think he understood that I loved him. So it kind of reunited us in a strange way. Not only did we meet there, but from a more spiritual perspective, we became one.